What's up, my people? How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is Coach Shawn. We are here today to bring you a quick video about spring position battles. Right now, we got a couple of these things going on. Right, we got a couple of important spring battles going on, and I'm gonna cover just a few of them real quick, and I'll give you my lock to who I think will be the starter. Starting first with the running backs. Now, we all understand. We all get it. We understand that Jace is gone. Roy Dale is gone. Uh, that duo rushed for 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, and added 195 yards and a touchdown receiving, right? So the running back room, however, to me is loaded, man. It's loaded. It's loaded with some great kids. I don't think the drop off would be significant at all. I think these kids are absolutely outstanding who will get a chance to start. Now, the battle is between the front runners to me, and the front runners are Justice Haynes and Jam Miller, along with Richard Young. So when you look at these kids individually, Haynes was a top running back in high school, 5-star kid. He saw most of his playing time at the end of the season in the Rose Bowl, right? Um, Haynes finished with 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 25 carries, on the season. He flashed potential in the Rose Bowl, ripping off a pair of decent-sized runs against a stout Michigan defense, right? Jam Miller, on the other hand, was more of the rotational back for Alabama, serving as the third running back for the majority of the season behind Roy Dale and Jace. Jam had 201 yards and a touchdown, 41 carries, and added 73 yards on a touchdown and four catches. So the duo of Haynes and Miller, will in all likelihood split the load at running back, just like Jason McClellan and Roy Dale did. I think the duo provides a higher upside, though. I think this duo provides a more electric, a more electric way of making big plays. I guess that's the best way to say it without dissing anybody, right? I think these two kids here are lightning in a bottle, and I think they can make big plays on the field. I think they don't necessarily need great blocking all the time to make great plays. I think this duo provides more versatility in the passing game. I think it's a higher potential for explosive plays. And when it comes to who starts, my lock is Justice Haynes. I do believe Justice Haynes will start the year at our starting running back. Now, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, those are young kids. They'll come in and learn the system, and they'll have their time. But I think Richard Young plays more of the Justice back and the Jam back this year. I think Richard will come in as the third guy, but I do think he'll play. Look for Jam to probably leave after this year. Jam will probably go to the NFL if he have a good season. Then it'll be Justice and Richard, right? So that's how the running backs goes. I think Richard will play. Obviously, Richard may be the fastest of them both, right? Jam is outstanding. Justice is outstanding. And I think all those kids will split time. I think Justice is my lock to start, with Jam coming in, playing just as much, and Richard coming in, being that third back to a change-up pace of back. And we're lucky to have all three. That is a position battle to keep your eyes on. My lock is Justice Haynes. Offensive tackle. Now, offensive tackle last year, we seen Caden Proctor. Young man came in, had his struggles in the beginning of the season, middle of the season, started playing a little better. End of the season, it was absolutely playing better, right, until the injury. Both tackle spots will be up for grabs, right? This is one of the key position battles because a lot of these kids don't have any experience. Now, we all know Elijah Pritchard came in and he played a little bit. He battled with Caden, right? But this is a very, very, very intriguing position battle, right? I think we filled our hole at center with Parker Brailsford. This kid was a freshman All-American coming in. You got to give it to him going forward and think that he would be the guy stepping in, right? He graded out as one of the top centers in college football. to start the season, to end the season. So filling one of those openings at offensive tackle will certainly be, I believe, Elijah Pritchard. I believe Elijah Pritchard will be the starting left tackle. He battled with Caden last year. Him and Caden went blow for blow. He could have easily started last year. The young man had up and downs, right? 8A he played well, then he played bad. Then he played well, then he played bad. So it's typical when you're young. He was coming off an injury. I think Elijah Pritchard is going to come in bigger, stronger, faster, and I think Elijah Pritchard will man that left tackle. Now, here's the thing: the right tackle. You have Miles McVay, you have Wilkin Formby, Olos Aileen, and you have Naquil Batron, right? The young man who transferred from Texas A&M. Now, I think Olos could play on the inside as well. I think Olos is big and strong enough and versatile enough to play guard along with Rock Montgomery, right? I think James Brockermeyer will back up at center, right? The two spots where we don't think we'll have that much of a battle, if any, obviously is the guards with Tyler Booker returning and the Hulk himself, Jaden Roberts, returning. I don't think we'll have much of a battle there, obviously, but those two tackle spots will be up for grabs. That is a very important battle going into the spring. I look for Miles McVay or Wilkin Formby to start at that right tackle. I think those kids bring a monstrosity of talent, right? Big, strong, added weight, red-shirted, just like Olos. Olos is the same way. Olos Aileen could easily step in there and start too, right? I don't know much about Naquil Batron. The young man's a big tackle, right? Young, right? Plenty talent. So that'll be one of the key battles on this team. I think McVay will enter his sophomore season with high expectations as far as, the 4-star recruit with loads of talent and potential. Batron, on the other hand, is more of a long-term project. I think he will start at some point in his career here. I think he's very, very young. At least Formby, McVay, and Olos all have redshirt years under their belt. So any one of those kids could start at right tackle to me. I think Olos is more versatile. They may put him in another position because he can play it. My lock to start at left tackle is Elijah Pritchard, and my lock to start at right tackle is probably Miles McVay. You know what I mean? I'm going to go with Miles McVay. Wide receiver. Very interesting position battle here. Very interesting. So, to me, the wide receiver position is the most wide open, right? Position heading into the spring, as no combination of starting receivers would be all that surprising. That's what I mean by that, right? This group will have to replace its top two receivers in Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond, as we all know. The position returns plenty of talent, though, right? Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law at the forefront, right? Jalen Hale coming in, right? This kid 6'1", has great height, great size, showed a lot of potential. Don't forget about Emmanuel Henderson. This kid's going to be great, right? Don't forget about Cole Adams, right? Jaron. It's a lot of kids on that roster that could start at receiver. You have Ryan Williams coming in. You have Rico Scott coming in. You have a lot of young kids on that roster. This position battle is going to be very interesting, especially since you got Jeremy Bernard here, right? This kid knows Washington's offense. He understands it. It's going to be excessively important, to find the right combination of wide receivers, right? A player that will certainly be used in the offense, to me, is Jeremy Bernard. Obviously coming from Washington, who understands their play style. He's very similar to Kendrick Law in build and how they use him. You think about it, though, you got Rico Scott coming in, Amari Jefferson coming in, Arian Hampton coming in, and the man himself, Ryan Williams. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. But in my locks for this position battle, I look for Jalen Hale, Kobe Prentice, and Kendrick Law to be your first three. But I do believe Jeremy Bernard will be in the rotation. as well as probably Ryan Williams, right? I do think this will be a 5 to 6 receiver rotation, similar to last year, especially the way they throw the ball. I think Jeremy Bernard will have a great career, an absolute outstanding impact on this roster. I think the young kid himself, Ryan Williams, will be too talented to keep off the field. I think Kobe is going to have a breakout season, and I think Kendrick is going to do some great things. He's going to be your Jalen Waddle, punt return, kick return, third down possession guy, reverse, do it all type guy. I think these guys have the talent to come in and make big plays. But those 4 or 5 guys are the 4 or 5 guys that I see locking down those receiver spots and playing the most for the wide receivers. Next, I'll go edge rusher. Now, similar to wide receiver, edge rusher could be any combination of players, right? To play a significant role, and no one would be surprising, right? This group, however, returns way less experience, man, than the wide receiver room, right? This position group brings back no one with real experience, however, right? Even though Quindarius Robinson played spot duty and made some plays. Returnees, Quay Russaw, Keon Keeley, Keanu Coit, Yanze Pierre is a freshman coming in. Here's a name that you don't hear that played middle linebacker that I think will be moving back to edge, Jeremiah Alexander. Keep your eyes open for Jeremiah Alexander and Quindarius Robinson. Those are my locks, right? I think those 2 kids, I think Keon Keeley is going to play a lot. I think he's going to get his feet wet. And Keon Keeley could start at one of those bandit or the other defensive end side, right? Keon Keeley could play a lot and could start there, man. Quay Russaw, any combination, you just don't know. Keanu Coit, right? But I do think Quindarius Robinson. I think Q Robinson is his time. I think he will lock down one of those end spots, one of those edges. And I do think he'll have an outstanding career this year. Look for some of the young players with Keanu, with Keon, even with Quay. Look for those guys to step up and all play in some shape, form, or fashion. The edge rusher will be a key battle going into the spring. My locks are Quindarius Robinson and Jeremiah Alexander. And finally, I think the one that everybody wants to know about, probably our youngest position as far as individuality is concerned, cornerback, right? Really defensive back as a whole, but especially cornerback. We have a few experienced safeties, right? Obviously, Malachi is here. Obviously, Devontae Smith 2.0 is here. Keon Saab is here, right? But the cornerback, not so much, right? So the cornerback group to me may be the biggest drop-off from 2023 to 2024 after losing Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry, right? The group will have a massive battle for cornerback 2 and 3 roles with no clear replacement even after Trey Amos transferred, right? So looking at all these guys, obviously you have Damani Jackson. Now, I've been on record saying I don't understand how USC used him. Every time I watched Damani play, he was bailing, right? He was like playing press bail, like every play. It was just really, really, really weird how they used him. The leverage was really, really ridiculous. Whether he was playing quarters, I don't know what he was doing half of the time. And that was clearly Alex Grinch's scheme. I don't know how they used that young man. They obviously didn't use him to his talent. I think Damani Jackson will be one of the starters at cornerback, right? One of the last players that Saban brought into the program was him. I think once ranked as one of the top cornerbacks in his recruiting class, he hadn't quite reached that level yet, but it's clearly not that young man's fault, right? He clearly got soiled going to that defense at USC, right? This kid has All-American ability. He's coming off an injury. I think he's going to have a great season. One of my locks for cornerback is Damani Jackson. On the other side, not so clear. You got Jalen Mbakwe in the mix. You got Zabian Brown in the mix. Xavier Mincy is in the mix. Jaleel Hurley is in the mix. Tony Mitchell is in the mix. Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. is in the mix, right? Red Morgan could possibly be in the mix. So you have a plethora of young kids at corner. Even at safety, you got some young kids, right? Xavier Mincy could really play safety. Peyton Woodyard is going to demand playing time. His talent is going to demand playing time. That kid is that good. Trust me. But when you look at corners, just not as clear. The team's second and third cornerback battle would be between maybe unproven kids such as true freshmen, right? Of the returnees, Jaleel Hurley and Tony Mitchell would compete as former top recruits. Tony Mitchell, kid could play safety or corner, right? He's a bigger kid, 6'1", 6'2", 205, right? These young kids' talent combined with college experience will likely give them the edge over the young true freshman, right? Jalen Mbakwe, being a true freshman, is the highest rated cornerback of the freshmen, but he's not quite as polished due to his bigger role he played at high school, playing all these different positions. Zabian Brown and Xavier Mincy were both 5-star recruits, in this class, and are both polished at corner and safety as far as Xavier Mincy. Mincy has everything you hope for in a corner or safety and could well be a starter just as well as Zabian Brown, right? So these kids will battle Tony Mitchell, and they'll battle the other freshman, Jalen Mbakwe, right? You're going to have a true cornerback battle at that other side opposite Damani Jackson, right? Boundary corner, field side corner, take your pick. Those to me are the biggest position battles that we're going to have, right? Those to me are the battles that are going to shape the future of this team. I really believe my lock, if you want my lock on the other side that I forgot to give, I think outside of the money, on the other side of the money, will be Zabian Brown. I'm going with Zabian Brown, right? I'm going with Zabian Brown. I think Jalen Mbakwe has the talent to start there. I know Tony Mitchell does, but I'm not sure Tony Mitchell's body has grew out of that corner stage. I'm not so sure that Tony Mitchell is going to be a safety now, right? I think Tony Mitchell is well over 200 pounds. Kid 6'1", 6'2". You know what? I don't know, man. It's hard, man. I'll tell you this. One lock, Damani Jackson. The other lock, Zabian Brown or Jaleel Hurley. Give me Jaleel Hurley. I'm going with the older kid. Give me Jaleel Hurley. Jaleel Hurley's been in the program. He's 6'2". He put on some weight. He came to the program like 170 pounds. Kid has put on some weight. Kid understands playing the position. Now he's going to have to fight off Xavier Mincy and Zabian Brown, right? And don't look over Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. This kid's going to come in and learn the system. He comes from good loins. Be careful because this kid could make a push. Now, I don't expect him to outplay Zabian, right? And I could be dead wrong on that, but I really do think Jaleel Hurley and Zabian Brown will make a push to start at that corner opposite Damani Jackson, right? I'll say Jaleel Hurley. Jaleel Hurley and Damani Jackson will be the two starting corners. I'll say that, right? So a lot of position battles going into the spring, a lot of things that we got to see who win, a lot of contact, a lot of violent football to be played, and I can't wait for it. This is Coach Shawn bringing you a position battle of all the key things that we need to look for going into the spring. Shout out to all the coaches, shout out to the staff, and shout out to the undefeated. Roll Tide, and always remember, man, always remember, the truth is in the details. Roll Tide.